welcome to FYI. A pleasure to have in studio Josh Akers. Of course, we got to know Josh during the campaign for Tailgate and Tall Boys, but we're going to find out a little bit more, and they got a September event coming up we want to talk about. But Josh, you're a local guy, right?
Local guy, yep. Born and raised in Clinton, on the outskirts of Clinton. Went to Northeast, graduated in '95, and then moved to Clinton in town when I was about 20. And I got an opportunity from a friend of mine, Ed Wing, who was working at the YMCA at the time. And he said, hey, I need help painting soccer fields. And this was 1999. I was playing softball with these guys. So started painting fields. A couple years later, he became a firefighter, so the position opened. And I'm like, all right, well, I've been doing this for a couple of years. Let me take a crack at it. And fell in love with what I did. I went to college and got a degree in that field after I'd already been in the field for quite a while. So kind of grew through the ranks, got to see a little bit of what our community needs were. Got to be part of a lot of the sports programmings and have been around them ever since and have kind of evolved. I was the aquatics coordinator for a while. I was a summer camp coordinator at the YMCA in the Parks District for a while. So literally not much I have not seen or experienced in the public service world from my end anyway.
You know, that is a great way to kind of develop what you do now, is to get a feel for what it all takes in the various aspects.
Yeah, literally. Yep. We've done it all for sure.
So what are your responsibilities right now, Josh?
So, basic responsibilities like overseeing operations, right? We got a great team. Like, I'm only as good as the people that we have in their positions, and we have an all-star team right now. Oversee, make sure they got the budget, make sure they have the needs that to get the things done that they need to do. For example, like Dustin Krogman, he does our fields, right? So he's got Jurgensen Soccer Complex. Well, that thing is an award-winning soccer complex, so we nominated him to be the Field Turf Manager of the Year, and he won it last year. So now we have this award-winning field, an award-winning groundskeeper to put on these what I would consider award-winning programs, right, that Brandon Haynes runs. So just kind of overseeing all the different parks. People don't realize, like, we started Eagle Point Park north and run all the way down south. Jurgensen's probably one of the most southerly things we run in town, but everything in between. All the operations on Riverfront, the programming there, the marina, the campground, the pool, the skate park project, the pickleball complex. All those projects are stuff that we and our department kind of oversaw, helped get funding for, helped bring them to fruition. So a lot of the grant writing opportunities we do as well in-house. We got fully funded the pond renovation project. That was a DNR REAP grant that I had written, fully funded. That was 100% paid for by the DNR REAP grant. So just all sorts of different things just to make these cool amenities that we have in our community, make them better. The Parks Master Plan always talks about taking care of things that we already have, but also, building new amenities that our community needs to meet, like the teens and tween populations, the seniors and the youth. And if you look at our resume of programs that we offer, we are all over the place. We have something literally for everyone.
It is amazing. Just listening to you, it struck me what you all are responsible for.
People have no idea.
Does that ever hit you sometimes? Like, oh my goodness, what am I in charge of?
It hits me all the time, but I think it takes a person like me that's pliable. Like, I can take it, but you've got pockets of people, right? Like, their passion is this one thing, or their passion is this, and you hear from them on that one thing, and they sometimes don't realize it. That's just one thing of like 20 different things that we're trying to deal with. So it's a lot to keep together. But again, when you got a team as strong as ours, you got Kathy, you got Nancy, Sherry, Brandon, David, Dustin, the whole crew. They're awesome. They make me look good.
So now, do you get together with these guys individually and then as a group to maybe brainstorm and put some things together?
Constantly. We are like thinkers. We're strategic thinkers. We are visionaries. We are constantly just bouncing ideas off each other. We meet every week as a team just to kind of cross-pollinate, like, hey, Dustin, you got this coming up, or Brandon, you got this coming up. How do you guys need to work together? What field needs do you need? Do we need to work with the public works side and grounds facilities to get a field ready or something else? So there's a lot of, like, communication that has to take place, but at the same time, you got people that just, we all want more. Like, some people get complacent in their worlds, and we just don't have any place for that in our department. Like, we want to continually evolve and move forward. We never settle. We're relentless in our pursuit of, great programming, great amenities, and I think it shows with the things we've been able to accomplish in the last several years. And hopefully the public sees that, and hopefully they appreciate that. And if not, just get out and try some of the stuff in the park systems and just see what's out there. One of the things that drives me crazy is when people say there's nothing to do in this town. It's like, then you're doing Clinton way wrong, because there's everything to do in this town. You got a showboat theater, you got Lumber King Stadium, you got a marina, you got RV campgrounds, you got Eagle Point Lodge and the Eagle Point Park, and like almost like a state park in our backyard, award-winning soccer fields and sports complexes. It's crazy to me that people say that. You got a river, right next door. So if you're not finding something to do, then maybe get out of the house a little more and take a look around, because there's stuff everywhere.
Again, visiting with Josh Akers on FYI. Boy, you've got a passion for this, Josh.
Oh, I do. I've always been told that.
So are you under the jurisdiction of the city of Clinton, or how does that work?
City of Clinton, yeah. So I mentioned Parks District earlier. That's not really a true statement necessarily. Like when you go to Illinois, a lot of they have like park districts, right? That's what their towns are called. It's their park district. So we are a Parks and Recreation department under the city administrator, Matt, and then he's got all the other departments too, like police, fire, MTA, engineering. All those different departments fall under the city.
So you have to present them with a budget, right?
Correct. Yep. Every year when we're sitting at the table, all the different department heads and their budgets are bringing a budget to the table for the council to approve. So we're just like all of the other city departments.
School, of course, opened up yesterday. Summer, I know. Talk a little bit about what you all offer over the summer, because you guys have great programs for the youth.
Our summer camp is massive. I mean, the amount of kids that in our community that we serve in the summertime, people that just drop in or come in and shoot hoops in the summertime, or and the library does a good job too with their programming. Like, so there's a lot of different cities functioned activities to do in the summertime, but a lot of special events this time of year. Band shell rentals. We just obviously Tailgate and Tall Boys was a huge event, but there's always events going on. There's always programming going on. Even down to like our fitness center, which is a 24-hour fitness center. We oversee that as well. A lot of activity there in the summertime. So there's just always so much going on.
You mentioned Eagle Point, the riverfront, and as well as the soccer complex, but Chansey Park is
100%.
Yeah, and then what are some of the other parks that you're in charge of?
Oh, geez, don't put me on the spot to list them all. I mean, you got Eagle Point Park, you got Hawthorne Park, you got Clinton Park, you got Chansey Park, you got Mariposa Park, you got Rainbow Park, you've got I knew this would happen.
And you've got the upkeep of all these. I mean, like cutting the grass and various things like that.
Well, so that's public works. So there's. The way I look at it is like the programming and activities that happen in all of the different parks is Parks and Recreation, but like maintenance, upkeep, and things like that typically is grounds and facilities, which is under Public Works. We are very tethered together, though. I mean, we talk constantly, so there's a lot of good communication that happens between the two, because all of the events that we have happens in a park. So if a roof is going bad, or if a fence needs repaired, or if something needs replaced, we work with our Public Works team to see, hey, what can we handle in-house, and then what has to be.
Who's in charge of Public Works?
Brian Lemke.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And then grounds facilities is Pat. Pat McGarry oversees that. So, I mean, Pat and I had worked together when it was Parks and Rec was overseeing that division. We worked together closely for years, so we still have that relationship where we talk, all the time. So.
And that's great, and you're all kind of young.
Absolutely.
So you're going to be around here for a while.
Got a few years left in the tank.
Yeah, that is great to hear.
I'd like to think we're just getting started. I had someone interview me yesterday on something about the skate park, and they asked me if they thought that would spark other projects. And I said, well, to be honest, I said the projects got sparked, several years back. We've been doing this for a while, starting with the Jurgensen complex renovation. That was kind of, Greg Obrin kind of got started. I took over when he had retired. It kind of started there, and we've been doing projects ever since. The pickleball courts, the sand volleyball courts, the skate park, the pond project, the LED field lighting at the Erickson Center. So we've had several projects along the way. So
I wish those lights would have been there when I was playing softball.
Well,
it was pretty dark out there sometimes in the outfield.
We don't keep stats. So we didn't charge any errors to your stat line.
Now, of course, summer's over. We're getting ready for fall. That's got to be in soccer, I would think.
Soccer, tackle football, flag football, youth volleyball camps coming up, and then we'll get ready for basketball leagues and camps, and Brandon Haynes does a great job overseeing all that. So, like I said, we have such a good team. Kathy is kind of coming off her high points too, because she oversees the pool operations, and that's that's chaotic in itself. It's so weather dependent, temperature dependent, and then she oversees the summer camps, and so she's been pretty busy too. But fall is definitely one of our busier times of the year.
More with Josh Hager, who's going to take a break for the weather right now, brought to you by Air Control.
We're tracking more record heat and high humidity for your Thursday with a mix of clouds and sun. Temperatures have a better chance of reaching 100 degrees this afternoon. Feels like temperatures near 115 to 120. A little bit cooler tonight. We'll go mostly clear and lows in the low 70s. I'm meteorologist Andrew Stutzky with your WQAD Storm Track 8 forecast.
We have climbed to 87 degrees. The heat index now at 97. Our update brought to you by Air Control.
Now is the time to schedule your fall home comfort system checkup with Air Control Inc. of Clinton, Iowa. Contact ACI today and ask about their annual maintenance agreement. With just one service call a year, you can eliminate downtime of your home's heating system and ensure it's running at peak efficiency to save you money this winter. Call ACI today, 563-243-7228.
Call Air Control, your affordable comfort solution.
Visiting with Josh Agers, of course, the Clinton Department of Parks and Recreation. Josh, did you ever see yourself heading up the department?
I think when I worked for Greg, I was the program supervisor, and it was in my plans like down the road. But then when Greg retired, I think it was 2017. I'm like, well, shoot, like this is my chance. Like if I don't at least apply for it and try for it now, then I could be waiting another 15 years, and then by then my window would have been closed to maybe do that. So I did put in when he retired, and thankfully it worked out the way that it did, and hopefully the community agrees it was a good decision and good choice. But
so it's been 6 years.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! And of course, you had to work through the pandemic.
We did, yeah.
What was that like?
So my most interesting pandemic story was the fitness center, right? So we had this old weight room downstairs and weight equipment, and we came across this opportunity to get some equipment out of a YMCA in Wisconsin through Treadmill Heroes, which is the company that does a lot of our equipment replacement and repairs. And they're like, Josh, like you got to get on this. Like it's an opportunity you can't pass up. And we were thinking about doing that at that time anyway. So I went and visited the equipment up in Wisconsin. I'm like, this stuff is amazing. We got to get it. The price was beyond favorable. So we put it in, and like it's like 2019 and like 2020, we're getting ready to go. We're getting our 24-hour access, key fobs ready, and then boom, pandemic just shuts everything down. So we didn't even, it was like failure to launch. Like we never got it off the ground. We had all this equipment, and we had to alternate. Every other treadmill had to be turned off because you had to be 6 feet apart. We, bought those sanitizer guns, that would spray everything down, and we increased our wiping stations for sanitizer stations, and it's just like we never really marketed it because it was just not really the right time.
Yeah.
But then later that fall, things kind of picked back up, and life opened up again, and then we really started hitting our marketing campaign, and now I think we're 500 members strong or close to, or 500 membership units strong. So that's not even the amount of people, that's just the units sold. So we're off and running now.
Let's talk about the event that's coming up in September, the Bacon and Brew Fest. Now, this is not the first year for it, is it?
No, this will be our fourth Bacon and Brew Fest. It is, I don't know, it's a brainchild I had quite a few years back. I'm like, what better opportunity than to put Bacon and Brew together on our band shell? Because, and again, that Parks Master Plan I keep referring to, it talked about making more and frequent use of our festival space. I'm like, well, this is a great opportunity to get something down there that sometimes people go to Galena for, or maybe they go to the Quad Cities, and my thinking has always been, I'm tired of sending everybody out of town to do stuff that we could be doing here. And this was just another activity we thought, let's just try it. Let's pair up with the JCs. They're a good partner. Let's pair up with some local businesses that have, food vendor opportunities. Let's pair up with some of the breweries that are in the area. So it kind of slowly progressed. Into the first year, we just served beer and sold it, similar to what the Finally Fridays did. And then we had entertainment, and then we had food vendors. Well, then the next year, we got a couple actual breweries to be on site. And then the third year we got a few more, and then this year we got a few more. So now I think we have like 7 or 8 breweries that will physically be on site, plus 7Gs will be bringing 3 or 4 breweries representations of products, and then we'll also have our 5 food vendors fighting for the coveted, the best bacon-inspired food item. So they have to provide a 2-ounce bacon-inspired food item, and then everybody has a little round-the-world card, and they visit every booth, and they pay $2 for their sample, and then they vote for the best sample that they thought. But it has to be bacon-related.
Okay, so now when is this going to take place? What are all the things we need to know?
Yeah, so Saturday, September 23rd, it is an away Iowa game, so make note of that. Iowa's on the road, so you don't have to worry about tailgating in Iowa City. We do have TVs coming this year. That's a first time for us. We have big screen TVs. There's a company we hooked up with that has a trailer with 3 TVs on it, so you'll be able to watch, football during the event. 4 to 7 p.m. It's at the band shell. You can park in that open Allied parking lot there. It's a great parking opportunity. We have 5 food vendors coming this year. We have Holly's Dogs, Deanna's Java Cafe, Delectable Delights, Hy-Vee Clinton, Glazy Days, and more. So this year, Hy-Vee is actually our title sponsor, so we are thankful to bring them on board. And then we've also got Citizens First Bank, Grow Clinton, Air Control, 7G's, Billion Auto, Clinton National Bank, and then Darling Ingredients. So we really kind of started to bring people on board. And I learned a lot from Tailgate and Tallboys about, marketing and trying to reach out. So we've hooked up with the local media a little bit more for some digital impressions on media to kind of get the word out there. So we're trying to market more out to like the Cedar Rapids area on in. So we're hoping that we can grow the numbers for this event.
Our riverfront, and of course, as you mentioned, being on the river is such an advantage for the city of
Yes.
Clinton, and I would think for your department as well.
Yep. I agree. And, when you think of riverfront, it's hard to not think about the marina. And Jean Lachelle, she does our marina operations down there. She oversees that. People that come here, this is one of the best marinas they've seen on the Mississippi. We have people that come here and slip from all the way from Chicago. I mean, it's definitely something where if you were looking for a place to get away for the weekend that was in a couple-hour drive, Clinton's Marina is a destination for that. But yeah, if you look at it from north to south, starting with the marina all the way down to the Rotary Park, another park we should have mentioned, there's just so much to do in just that little 2-mile stretch.
Again, Josh Akers, I guess you're such a good interview, Josh. I love talking to you.
Thanks.
We got about 8 minutes left in the show. Let's talk a little bit about Tailgate and Tallboys.
Absolutely.
The first year, obviously, very successful. You've got a 2-year commitment left yet.
Yep.
How are things looking?
Things are looking good. We, Tailgate and Tallboys is one of those things where we knew it would be a growing period, right? Year one, you've got so many things that are first time. We've never seen it. We've never staffed it. We've never, had EMS operations for it or police operations for it or public works needs or parks and rec needs. A lot of things you just don't know. So you prepare as best as you can, right? You're vigilant in your preparation. That's kind of what we kind of go with. You've got a new partner in USA Concerts. They've done several of these, but they've never done it here. So there were so many things that we learned along the way. One small example, when I'm talking about the Bacon and Brew Fest, just marketing opportunities and campaigning, just like the way I strategized for this event based on what I learned from the Tailgate and Tallboys. I think if you talk to the community as a whole, very favorable, very well received. A lot of popular opinions about how well it was ran. That was one of the things that we weren't expecting to hear, was the amount of compliments on how clean the porta potties were. That's not something you would think would be a thing, and it was. People are like, there's some of the cleanest porta potties you've ever seen. So that's great. People have that experience, and they come back and they talk about how they didn't have to wait in line for beer. They didn't have to wait in line for food. The bathrooms were clean. The organization was great. Once you got inside, you found your spot. It was amazing. So from that perspective, it was very well received from the public. And I think Facebook, the next couple of weeks was just a buzz. It's all people could talk about. I had people physically mail letters to me, Facebook message me, text me, call me, reach out in any way possible. I know Mayor Scott had the same. Even though there was a lot of people involved in this success, I think a lot of times, the mayor and I got most of the kudos for that. But trust me, it was not just us two. It was a huge unified front. But just the overwhelming response of how much people enjoyed that event. And I can't think of anything that has sparked that much excitement in Clinton in decades. The amount of people that were talking about it favorably was just overwhelming.
I know, great response in the city of Clinton. How big of an area did you actually draw from? Were you able to kind of judge where the people were coming?
We were. So we actually get impressions of where ticket sales were purchased from. And don't quote me on the states, but it was in the 20s. 20-some states were represented. We're talking as far as Arizona. I know there was Texas, there was New York, just all over the grid, people were coming here. And I think the one thing that's important to note when people talk about the success of this event is you cannot judge it by year one. There are so many people we talk to that are like, I'm not sure, I don't know what it's going to be like, I don't like crowds, or even some of the sponsor opportunities like, well, we really don't know, we haven't seen it yet. Now that people have seen and heard about year one, the amount of people that didn't go, oh my gosh, everybody I've talked to says this was the greatest thing ever, we're going next year. And the amount of people we talk to that says, oh my gosh, we did general admission last year, we are definitely doing VIP next year. So there is no way you can gauge year one on the success or lack of success for this event. It's just not enough information to make that decision.
As I remember visiting when you first made this call that you're going to have Tailgate and Tallboys, and they came in and they just loved the venue.
They love it.
What Clinton had to offer on the riverfront.
100%. So they came here originally to meet Scott and I just to talk through what it could look like if we were to put entertainment on our riverfront. Scott and I had kind of talked about maybe putting something in the stadium, and I had talked about why can't we have Kane Brown or Sam Hunt on our band shell. Well, when you see the stage production that they put on, it's like so overwhelming. Oh, our band shell would have been way undersized for the production that it needs to do what they do. And I think that's an interesting topic too, is, when you talk about that partnership, like they stand to lose a lot as well. If this isn't successful, that's all their investors that they have to answer to. Just like we have to answer to our tax-paying amenities as well. They wouldn't be here if they didn't think that this thing was going to be profitable and lucrative and a benefit to them as well, yet alone the city. So the economic impact numbers that I think Grow Clinton kind of tossed out was in the millions. So there's more than one way to look at this through the question of how successful was it. It depends on what lens you look through it.
The one thing that struck me is when it was all said and done and they took everything away, the grounds didn't look that bad.
Right. I attribute that to the months and months and months and countless hours of just planning. All the departments at some point was at the table. Almost every department in our city, even departments from the county, the USA Concerts team, just all meeting. We were meeting at the EOC at least once a month, in the county building, just talking through, and had maps up on the big screen, the big screen, and just talking through, just planning. So I think we'll be much more efficient in year two. I am very excited to hear some of the names that are being tossed around, even though I learned last year, don't tell anybody what the names are, because you might think it was one person for a month and then all of a sudden they get routed somewhere else. So it's like, until they sign the contract, it's hard to tell. And one thing to disclose is everybody talked about Lainey Wilson leaving. Lainey Wilson got asked to host the entire CMA Fest last year. We did not lose her to perform at CMA Fest. She left to go host the entire thing. That was an anomaly. That is not the norm. So I want to put that to rest.
All right. Hey, really appreciate you coming in. If people would like to find out more information about the Department of Parks and Recreation, about the Bacon and Brew Fest, how can they best do that?
Honestly, the Facebook is one of our huge social media platforms. So the City of Clinton Parks and Recreation. You can always go to the city website, cityofclintoniowa.us, and go to departments. You can sign up online for classes and things on that same website. So for the Bacon and Brew Fest, there's a Facebook page as well for that. So look up, Riverview Bacon and Brew, and you can buy tickets right there from eTix. We will be doing VIP ticket giveaways at Bacon and Brew this year. And if we play our cards right, we should be able to do some announcements, at least a soft announcement of some of the headliners. So make sure you get there September 23rd, Bacon and Brew Fest, 4 to 7 p.m. on the Riverfront Band Shell.
Josh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
The Dan Patrick Show.
Dan Patrick.
I think we have to differentiate from hype versus overcovered.
Yeah.
Because the Jets are going to get a monstrous amount of hype. The Cowboys are going to be overcovered.
Cowboys are always overcovered.
Correct.
It's like, okay,